And now, the show you've been waiting for. From Channels TV's global headquarters, it's The Other News. And here's your host, Okey Bakassi.
Hello. Welcome to The Other News, the show that serves you news that is spiced with a little madness. My guest today is the brain behind Global Excellence magazine. Some call him the Jagaban of Nigerian media. Ladies and gentlemen, Mayor Akinpelu is in the building. Later on, we'll get to see the waka our correspondents Binta and SLK have been up to. All that and much more, but first, the other news headlines. The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Kachukwu, has revealed that Nigeria will boost gas production by 2020. And you know what happens when gas production is boosted in a system? Yeah, but don't worry, the federal government will not mess this one up. Yeah, President Muhammadu Buhari, in a conversation with the Canadian Governor General Julie Payet, described Nigeria as a growing democracy. Very true. We don't believe in family planning, so we are all growing very well. Catholic Archbishop of Kampala, Cyril Luanga, has recommended that the Ugandan government deduct 10% from workers' monthly salary as tithe for the church. If that one spreads to Nigeria, that is when you all see mass defection to traditional gods. That's when you all attempt to slide into somebody's DM and you will see Child of Shango. Anyway, UK-based digital firm Richtopia has ranked Dangote and Tony Elumelu in the top 11 of the world's most charitable people for their donations to the Dangote and Tony Elumelu foundations, respectively. They say Femi Otedola would have made the list, but Richtopia did not count DJ Copy as a donation. So I guess it didn't work. On to other matters. The renowned doctor, Dr. Small, prescribes, if you don't get money, hide your face. So profound. Thank you very much, doctor. But this prescription has been doing our body one kind. So on behalf of broke, hustling Nigerians everywhere, some laborers organized themselves and prescribed that if you don't get money, show your face.
Based on this, protesters get into cars for a trip to the Ministry of Labour and Productivity at Ikoyi. They have a letter for the Minister of Labour articulating their complaint.
Yes, for some months now, organized labor has been telling the federal government and the private sector that Nigerians cannot be earning guinea corn salary, while Charlies in Ghana are earning boiled egg salary. And our leaders here are enjoying big turkey. Levels must change. But how? Pricing. Federal government and private sector said, how much? Labor said 66,500 last. Private sector said, but now only 25,000 I carry come. Labor then said, oh yeah, 30K last. But now because now you.
The labor leaders agreed on 30,000 naira, the private sector agreed on 25,000 naira, while the federal and state governments agreed on 24 and 20,000 naira in that order.
Why hasn't the improved minimum wage started talking? Is it too much for government?
Acceptable minimum wage must be done in a manner that the total personnel costs does not exceed 50% of the total revenue available to each state. Governors therefore agree to pay a national minimum wage of 22,500 naira only.
Only? Well, as expected, organized labor has been very understanding.
The commissioners, the ministers, the members of the legislators, they have salaries, very humongous pays. They go home with that one, it doesn't affect the economy. But when it comes to the peanuts they give Nigerian workers, it affects the economy. I don't know the kind of conjecture you people are trying to make.
Wait, so this man is saying that the federal government is like that guy who buys a brand new Range Rover but refuses to return the 5,000 naira that he borrowed from his neighbor. He could have bought Tokumbo now and returned the 5,000 naira. But anyway, that's what we say for Niger neighborhood.
There's no commitment to pay the minimum wage. This is just a delay tactics.
Delay tactics? No, it can't be delay tactics. The presidency must have a reasonable explanation.
I have gone through it over and over again. That's why I'm not in a hurry virtually to do anything.
We're not in a hurry. Okay then, since this seems to be a go-slow political era, let's make use of our go-slow skills. Yes. Yeah, because to survive a go-slow, you need gala, soft drink, and maybe your brain to dream about how one day it go better. So as this go-slow of minimum wage adjustment is going slowly, Labour will need to eat their gala of self-encouragement, drink the memory of their past glory, think about those who have forgotten them, and help us remember some things they have forgotten to remember. Things like overtime compensation. Because when Nigerians are working from night to morning and morning to night every day with no extra shishi, that is when person go to think stupid things like also maternity leave with payment. If not, women will start doing like this to their husbands. Then no more pregnancy. And we'll go now see who go work when all of us don't old. Even though this 18,000 naira minimum wage is barely above the global mark for absolute poverty, we still manage to smile because we have that superpower called suffering and smiling. In some states, workers have not been paid their 18,000 for 6 months, but still they are fighting for 30,000 minimum wage because we have that superpower. Not getting it yet. You see, all we can do is hope that the 6th of November does not strike us like thunder, because this will be the case of our Niger offices. In the meantime, let us keep counting our blessings, persevering and hoping, because last, one day, it will better. My guest tonight is a man who has defied the odds in Nigerian journalism over and again. From reporting undercover in Kirikiri prisons to covering high-profile society events. He has done it all. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mayor Akinpelu in the studio. You're welcome, sir.
My pleasure being here.
The mayor of journalism.
You're
welcome, sir. It's good to have you in the studio today.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's get straight into it. You've been a special advisor media to a one-time Senate President, Senator Adolphus Wabara.
Yes.
You've been close to the corridors of power, and you've seen what it is like to represent the views of a high-ranking government official, to the people. How tough is that job?
Very tough. I tell people, it's for those who are starting out in life. It's not for established journalists.
Wow.
Yes.
Why?
You see, when you're a reporter or you're a line editor and you become a special advisor, you are moving up. When you're already an editor and you get a job to become special advisor, except you are lucky, your principal is somebody who really believes in what you do and respect journalists. Because most special advisors media are just errand boys.
Wow. For real? Will that be the same thing that a spokesperson, for example, of the president will likely go to do?
Look, let me tell you something. I know Femi Adesina very well. I know Garba Shehu very well. Brilliant guys. But now, they've turned to somebody who doesn't know what they are doing. Everybody abuses them every time. When people say, oh, Femi Adesina doesn't know what he's doing, Garba Shehu doesn't know what he's doing, and I laugh. There's nothing they can do. You know why? When they take decisions, you are not even there. Femi Adesina is supposed to be a cabinet member. He attends cabinet meetings. Yes. But when they want to take key decisions, sometimes he won't be there. They will do it during the night.
Yeah, they will
do it during the night, and they will come in the morning and they will tell you that this is the position. Go and defend it.
Wow.
In most cases, that's what happens.
So
they've already taken the decision. Even when you don't agree with that decision, then they come to you and tell you this is our position.
So in some ways, the job sometimes conflicts with your core values as a journalist.
Of course.
Before we take a break, if you were in additional shoes now, what would you do differently?
I would resign. I would leave.
Well, please don't go anywhere. This interview will continue. Welcome back. It's the other news, and we are having a very hot conversation with the one and only Mayor Akinpelu in the studio. Boss, this has been very, very riveting, and I'm sure that people at home want to hear more. In this Trump fake news era, journalists have become endangered species. We know the story of sometime earlier this year, journalists Samuel Ogundigbe and Musikili Mojid were invited by SARS to their headquarters in Abuja, and after they published certain stories, and you know the rest of the story. Do you believe there's an invisible line that a journalist shouldn't cross in Nigeria?
Not really. It has always been a very dangerous job to do all over the world. Yeah. Because as a journalist, you want to break a story. You want to tell a story. Let me just put it like that. There are some people, powerful people, who don't want those stories told. Yes. So there will always be conflict between the journalist and the power man.
So a journalist can go everywhere,
You are supposed to go anywhere, except maybe it has to do with national interests.
National security.
Yes. But apart from that, you are supposed to be able to publish anything, provided that is the truth.
Yeah.
But you see, there are some people who, even when it is the truth, it's not in their own interest for it to be published. And that is why, over time, they've always detained journalists, they've always killed journalists. Things are better now because of democracy. Under the military, things were so... There was one madman called Colonel Menka. At that time, I remember Colonel Menka would just invite you to DMI in Apapa and tells you that, look, my friend, next time they bring you to this office, I will flush you down that toilet.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Colonel Menka. He has appeared. Now, that's what he would tell you. Imagine somebody calling a journalist. There was one guy called Faye. Faye was put in the dungeon in DMI for years. How the guy didn't run mad, I can't fathom it. Because when you go to DMI then, you'll be hearing Faye singing in the dungeon there, singing Christian songs. He was kept there for almost about 1.5 years, 2 years. Inside dungeon in DMI.
For doing his job?
Yes. So journalists always, you know the story of Kachukwu that just...
recently.
There are some people who will just believe that they are not comfortable with what you want to say and if you say it, they will come after you.
Okay. How do we tell between fake news and real news, especially in this era where everyone consumes social media as a journalist?
Before, it's so easy. Because when you want to publish, there are people who are gatekeepers, the sub-editors, the editors. There is a duty for them to look at it, has the reporter about the sources, look at the facts of the case, look what is libelous and all that. Yeah. But social media has changed all that. Like I said, everybody is now a journalist. And most of these people are not trained. You understand? Yes. And it's just like when GSM first came to Nigeria. You know, before, only very few people had GSM. You remember the time of 090, not 90 at that time. Yes. So it's only a few people it was a status symbol. Then GSM came, and anybody can talk. So it was like everybody was excited because you can just talk. So it's the same thing that's happening. And the social media has made everybody a journalist. So everybody is excited. They are so excited to post things. They want people to read them. They want to say they are the one posting. So when what you just need to do is to post a fake story and wait. Don't worry. Others will help you repost it.
Yes. What do you think that can be done differently to make it better?
We have to face reality. What is the reality? Online. Once in a while, you can still do the physical aspect of it, but nobody wants to read it. You just do it like a special edition now. Yeah. Everything has to be online because If you don't do that, you'll be left behind.
You'll be left behind.
Nobody wants to go
You'll be
to
serving
any
stale
yes.
news.
Nobody wants to go to any vendor and be asking where is global excellence. They don't have that time.
Unless you want to do strictly investigative pieces.
Even at that, you can only do that occasionally.
Yeah.
It's not something you can do because Time
even
Magazine, they do investigative journalism. Most times, that's what they do. But they cannot even sustain it on a weekly basis. So they have to be online. That's the reality. Social media has changed the world. The internet has changed everything. So everything now is news on the go. If you decide to say, oh, I want to do the old ways we used to do things, you'll be left behind.
Okay, finally, before I let you go, sir, it's been a wonderful interview. If you are called upon today to say, come and be the media spokesperson for a serving Nigerian president.
No, I won't do that.
That's
what I'm saying. I won't do that because I've been privileged to be special advisor to the number 3 persons.
So the answer
and I
will be
know that there's nothing there. That's why if you really see, the only thing you can gain
What of Minister for Information?
No, yes. Minister of Information is different. Yes, I would love to do that. Because now you have to now create policies for government. You have to see how news is managed, how the government's image is managed. That one is a different ballgame. You are now in charge, dictating what should be done.
You're no longer
but when you are just a special advisor, you're just an errand boy.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
My pleasure.
It's nice having you here.
My pleasure.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the great Mayor Akinpelu. When robbers attack, we call the police. But when fire-breathing monsters invade our roads, we send in our curiously adventurous correspondent, Binta Badmos, to get to the bottom of things. Over to you, Binta.
To some people, dragons are scary fairy tale creatures like these ones. But in Nigeria, some say we have real-life dragons riding on our roads, roaring at us with terror, and even spitting fire up and down. These dragons have instilled so much fear even in the most responsible road users. A representative of the most diligent and dutiful road users had this to say about them.
They were very dangerous on roads. When they see small buses on the road, instead of them to take patience, they would like to overtake and cause a lot of accidents on this road, especially the place that the road is not good. When the road is very tiny, instead of them to get patience, they will be trying to maneuver each other.
Yeah, right. A case of a pot calling a kettle black. Well, I'm here to get to the bottom of this matter. Yeah, so I find myself in this truck and I'm about to ask my truck driver here. When you enter this thing, they feel big, say, they're on top of the world. All the cars where they're on road, they go small for your face. You dey respect those cars where you dey see where they move for road?
This motor is a big motor, not a small one. Not a small motor, that's the problem. So when you see the thing, you cannot see the motor for your nearest, you understand? You can always use the
mirror.
No. You can see the motor
from far,
but you cannot see it for my nearest. You understand?
So that is why
we are using horn so that you that you are driving small car, you be here so that you should come out from the road.
Oh, now air you they use. So now so you go come they press your brake. So as you they press the brake, they go here and you also press the horn too.
It's not like a small car that when you tag the brake, the motor stop. No. You understand? So when you see the thing from far, so when you see it from far, so you can use your brake and your gear so that you should hold the motor, so that you should control it well.
So how often do you get to sensitize these people?
Periodically, we do organize a refresher for them. And this year, and good enough, just last week, Monday 22nd, we started one. Nupeng PTD, the PTD branch of Nupeng, they organized for all the tanker drivers within the southwest with Lagos as the center where all of them came. And we started, it was a 3 days exercise. We were taking them in batches like that for 3 days. We had started on the 22nd and we ended on the 24th. And it is going to go through all the 6 geopolitical regions like that. It is they are union officials that are organizing it, while we are coming in as facilitators.
What is it that you are doing to curb this menace? Have it identified all the issues and what you think they should do?
We have our a project called Safe to Load. It's one of our programs that are projects designed to curb their excesses from the loading points. We have trained officers at the various tank farms, and they are to inspect the trucks before they go in, and also after. They also ensure that it is not leaking. We have had cases where somebody will carry a petrol product and the thing is dripping on the floor, and it's very dangerous. So we make sure that all those things are adhered to.
And I'm about to do my own testing right here on the other news. I'll see you guys in a jiffy.
Yeah, we'll be taking a closer look at the state of emergency in Nigerian education in just a moment. It's the other news. It's still the other news. The National Economic Council recommended that state governors allocate 15% of their budgets to education and declared a state of emergency in the sector. That is good, though. So all the children that write on their laps will be upgraded to laptops. Or last, maybe the meals in the feeding program will upgrade from beans and gari to chips and shawarma. This development is welcome and long overdue. In fact,
you see, I'm the special teaching correspondent, and I'm here to liberate you from the ignorance of this matter.
What is the meaning of that?
Okay, it's okay. SLK has taken over the segment. Good day, class. You see, the state of emergency and the recommendation by NEC has been lauded by the National Union of Teachers, meaning they seem to believe that NEC's recommendation is 10 over 10, 10 over 10. But some other stakeholders apparently think otherwise.
Having a percentage of budget allocation to education means devoting money that leans on nothing.
Professor Ejiogu. So you're trying to say that the next effort lean on nothing. Are you sure you're not a pain in the neck? Literally. So while NUT and NEC, while they are singing 10 over 10, 10 over 10, Professor Ejiogu was singing Shikena, Shikena, Shikena. Well, a 2006 sector report shows that Nigerian educational system is a lot like my own personal education. The more money put in, the poorer the result. I hope my father is not watching. Anyways, since these results, since the money is not enough, apparently money is not the answer, the government needs to derive an almighty formula that will tackle the problems in the the educational sector. An almighty formula, because even the Almighty wonders why kids are studying history under his tree. Since our results seem to lean back like Fat Joe. And the money, anytime the money seems to enter the place like Two-Face. That's why we need to start looking for the formula like Ricardo Banks.
And find out that we have a rotten, disorganized, inefficient, confused educational system. It isn't something that 15% or 20% will solve.
Wait, come to think of it, Could it be that our educational system is rotten because we keep providing it with old and expired syllabus? Like, do we need like a NAFDAC for the syllabus? You know, something to check the expiry date or something, you know? If we keep feeding our children with old and spoiled syllabus, don't be surprised when we keep seeing people like Mr. Bang Da Da Dang. Are we trying to prepare our kids, our words, to understand the concepts and ideas? Or are we just teaching them to cram, like I'm doing right now? Wait, what's my next point? Assignment. Assignment number 1, yes. The government needs to replace the old syllabus with brand new ones, you know, new ones that we can teach our kids, fresh ones that we can harvest. Number 2, to build a better future and also to cement the future of the kids, I think the government needs to create a concrete plan for the allocation of this 15% amongst the primary, secondary, and tertiary institutions. Then finally, number 3, the government needs to create a measuring system for accountability of this allocation. You know, the constant K is corruption. So, government needs to submit this assignment as soon as possible because it forms the continuous assessment for the government. You know, our government, they like school, and that's why they are coming for second term. Anyways.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, SLK. That's very informative. But for your information, the only constant K on this show is the K in OK. Just so you know.
But there's also K in SLK.
Okay, please. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please, a round of applause. Round of applause for SLK. Yes. That's it for today, people. As always, it's been fun hanging out with you. You can follow and stalk us at The Other News CTV on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. People say corn cannot get justice in the court of chickens. Till next time, my name is Okey. Keep pushing.